dog.
Don't fuck with the babysitter.
Sprocket, old boy, what are you barking at? What do you see?
Nerds.
Nerds. I'm Batman.
Now that's a real badge. I'm a real cop, and this is a real fucking gun.
Got a knife.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
What's happening, hot stuff?
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Awesome 80s Podcast. This is Michael.
This is Lawrence. Hi, Michael.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
We had a softball game tonight. It was good. We didn't win, but we played well. That's what's important.
That's the second most important thing besides winning is playing well.
What about having fun? What about having fun?
Fifth.
Okay.
I think it's winning, playing well, and then winning, having fun.
Okay.
So you missed the great Cub catch earlier by the fan?
I don't need to see a great Cub catch by.
No, he was in the front row, right by the first base side, and he was feeding his baby with a bottle, and then he reached into the field of play and caught a foul ball. And the whole crowd went crazy, like cheering, even though they called him out for fan interference, because the guy was going to catch it anyway.
Yeah.
But one-handed, baby in hand with the bottle, catches it. It was pretty awesome. I thought of you. It's all over. You'll see it. It's all over everywhere now. It's
good.
It's the hot
Good.
clip.
Good.
It's the hot clip.
It's a hot clip of the day. Okay.
So everything's going okay with you? I mean,
I think so. Are you okay?
I'm great. I'm great.
Did you see any ginger hate crimes, or what's going on with that?
Why would you say so?
I'm just wondering. Okay.
Oh, it's not nice. It's disturbing even. Hey, I heard some news about you today. That's great. My wife gets to tell me things about you. That's fine. I mean, I won't talk about it on air. I'm just saying, I'm glad my wife tells me important events in your life and you don't.
Oh, sure.
I mean, it's fine. Whatever.
No big deal.
So wives are for. Tell you stuff about one of your best friends. Best friends? We have a couple here. Research analyst, bartender, research, bartender. And you watched the movie tonight, so that's awesome.
Oh, that's good.
MF Jones back on site. Woo woo.
What up? What up?
All right. Motherfucker Jones.
Thank you.
Back to where we should be. A couple things we want to talk about before we delve into this docudrama. We had got some fan mail again. We love fan mail. Mark H. in Seattle. Love when I hear from Mark, and he's not talking about supports, and he's not probably because he can't sign his quarterback to a contract. That's not on me. That's on him. He suggested a movie that I'm putting in the current list. So usually I keep a list of 5 or 6 that current movies we like to look at. Best of Times, I think it is. Robin Williams, is that what it was?
Is it best of? Oh, about the football. The football. It's got Kurt Russell. In it.
Yeah. So he made that suggestion. Thank you for doing that. We will get it.
Too. So we'll see.
What?
Well, do we want to do Lucas and football comes around, or camps are just around the corner, Glenn, for football.
Hero on a year soon. Who's in that honor him? Rob Williams.
Rob Williams. Okay.
Mail? Did you see? Rob Williams is in that movie. He died a year ago, so we can do that. But then we got some other fan mail. Did you see our other fan mail?
What did it say? Did it just say we're awesome?
Well, we got 2. One of them was boring, zzz, number 2. That's by our good friend Jamie George.
We
got another one. Oh, Michael just figured out the mystery. We'll get it in 10 minutes. We got another one from Jamie George, saying that you guys should do Alf podcast in honor of Gordon Since Alf was an epic show, not boring by any means, and the girl who played Lynn, she was hot. The teenage girl at the time, well, I know, she's still hot, maybe. Alf had an alien boner for her behind the scenes, LOL. That was all one sentence. We're not going to do Alf, Jamie George, but what we are going to do is do a movie that has Alf's dad in it. Which is this movie we're going to talk about in a minute. A couple quick.
He has all like 20 seconds.
Yeah, he's in there. A couple quick plugs. This Sunday night, 9 p.m. Central Time, I will be on the Old School Wrestling Podcast live. If you live in the greater Bloomington, Illinois area, you can listen to it on 88.1. I'll be going back to where I hosted my original 80s radio show back in the day. You have
as many as 1,000 people listening to you.
But I think it's also going to be broadcast live on the interwebs. I don't know anything about it. You can go to flairchop.com and find out all about it.
So you guys are going to talk about wrestling. I assume Dusty might come up.
Well, we're going to talk about Demolition versus the Road Warriors. Two guys are taking the team of Demolition, and two guys are taking the point of view of the Road Warriors, and we're going to battle it out.
Okay.
That's what's going to happen.
All right.
Are you available next Friday during the day?
Was it the Road Warriors that were with, like, they bounced the same place that Hogan bounced or something? They were all members of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Hogan wasn't a bouncer there, but Rick Rude was.
Okay. It's like all in Minnesota. Like how? It's like all of a sudden, like epicenter for professional wrestling was Minnesota. But I guess that's Gagne's territory.
For Gagne, Vern's playground.
I know a lot of stuff about wrestling, but I don't like wrestling.
Are you available next Friday during the day? Do you know?
Friday. It's Friday. Yeah, probably.
Okay. Garen's going to come on our show. Garen is doing a thing where he watches one movie a day for all of 2015. The movie he watched today at our request was My Best Friend's a Vampire. And so we're going to be reviewing that next Friday. Yeah. Yeah.
This is the one with
It's not the one with Jim Carrey, if that's what you're thinking.
Okay.
That's Once Bitten. This is
the one. He was the guy that ended up hurting himself in Dead Poet Society.
Maybe, probably, yes.
Okay.
So we're gonna do a Law and Order style, torn from today's headlines movie this week. It's called Soul Man.
So we're gonna be doing Soul Plane as like a sequel to last week with Snoop Dogg.
Nope. Not Snakes on a Plane either. This is called Soul Man. It is not the 30 for 30 about the guy who helped make Nike either. But if you,
I watched that, it sucked. I didn't like it.
I didn't think it sucked.
Anyway, Soul Man or Soul Men, the one with Bernie Mac and Sam Jackson.
Not Soul Men. Nope.
Okay.
The main character in this movie is white black. See, he's white, but he feels like he's black. Torn from today's headlines. This movie actually stars Side Out's own C. Thomas Howell.
$93. Harvard Law School. This is a big day for all of us. That's why I've decided to let you pay your own way.
Estimated annual living expenses. You ever applied for a loan before? $7.
Get out.
Total for 3 years of law school.
Wait a second, look at this. Full tuition for the most qualified applicant, most qualified black applicant.
$53,979. Don't you think you're overreacting? No.
Congratulations, Mr. Watson.
We've had a lot of cultural things happen this year as far as race relations. Hopefully we can tread the water very lightly. We don't upset anyone. But it's America. I mean, with Ferguson and Baltimore, people are crazy. People are very upset right now. But
are you warning me to watch my tone?
No, what I'm saying is that Glenn and I, no matter how bad things get, no matter how crappy things are in the actual world, Glenn and I like to look for the silver lining that we can make fun of. And luckily last week the silver lining was just handed to us when Rachel DeLozal, she was one of the leaders or the leader of the NAACP.
She was the leader of the Spokane, Washington chapter of the NAACP.
Yes, and she came out as not black.
Well, she didn't exactly come out as not black. She was outed by her parents.
Yes, like they're just sitting there, and it kind of reminds me of another scene in this movie, Soul Man, where the parents are sitting in the kitchen, and they're just sitting there like, these are my parents. It's like just two white ass people, and they show pictures of her in high school, and she has adopted parents or adopted brothers and sisters, and that are African American, and she talks about how she identifies as black instead of like, I think she needs help with her verbs. Like she needs to identify with being black, with black people. She doesn't, I mean, obviously she has some mental problems, but it spurred us to go and review Soul Man.
So Soul Man, 1986?
Correct.
Correct. Thank you, Michael. 1986 classic. We say classic a lot.
I was about to say the same thing. Let's define classic.
So this movie,
like something that would be, it's been on TBS and TNT. Like that's why I remember seeing it.
At first, I got this confused. When I finished watching it, I was like, do I remember seeing this all the way through? I don't think I do remember seeing it all the way through. I think I just always saw the middle part on HBO, and then I got it confused with Campus Man.
I mean, Big Man on Campus or Campus Man, the one with Ari?
Campus Man, the one where they make the calendars.
Okay, yes. He's like a diaper, and they decide to make a calendar to pay for their tuition.
Yeah.
Another horrible campus movie.
Yeah. So we should do that one sometime. This movie starts with a blues opening, you know, because you got I'm a Soul Man is a perfect song.
Yes.
To begin this movie. You got Ari Gross. We've discussed Ari Gross many times. What Ari Gross features? We just had him in a movie.
He was in Tequila Sunrise, but we really love him from not the Replacements. What's it called? Him and John Travolta.
Oh, the Experts. The Experts. Yes.
It is a bad movie about. It's probably one of the movies that killed communism, pretty much. If you look back, Rocky IV. I mean, and then The Experts. That with John Travolta, it killed communism.
Now he was in House 2. Remember House 2? Remember when we did House? That was a great one. Oh, you weren't there.
The director of this also did House as well.
The Experts, Tequila Sunrise, For the Boys. That's basically it. I mean, he really didn't have a lot.
Not in the 80s.
The Couch Trip.
Okay. But I mean, just like his face, he's perfect as like the best friend or as the sidekick. I wish
just one of the guys.
Yes.
But what else was he in? Or no, who's the other him? Who else was in Tequila Sunrise? Arliss Howard.
Arliss Howard.
They're interchangeable. I'm not saying which one.
I'm sure they've gone to the same interview. Like, oh, I thought you're reading for this part. I thought we called in the other guy. I'm sorry.
Right.
You don't have to read for this.
Oh, you're not Arliss Howard.
Yeah, the other one.
So these two guys, him and C. Thomas Howell, C. Thomas Howell of Side Out fame.
Or The Outsiders, whatever.
You know, you do a lot of things. They're going to go to Harvard. They're going to go to Harvard Law School.
Harvard.
They both get in.
Law school.
They both are in bed. They get the letters, and they're jumping up and down. All of a sudden, you notice that there's a random blonde laying next to C. Thomas Howell. Ari Gross wants to be introduced. Holy ginger beard.
Mm-hmm. Are you talking about the Dodger player?
Yeah, Justin Turner.
I know. We know each other. Don't worry about it. He comes
I see him at the meetings.
Yeah. It feels like any other 80s movies, they would be virgins. Do you know what I'm saying? Going to graduate school. But these two guys are men. They've been through college. They divide up ladies when they go to the parties. They have experience. They're men of experience.
So there's the random line where Arya Gross goes to Mark. C. Thomas Howell goes, well, you're going to introduce to the blonde? And then C. Thomas Howell turns to the blonde and goes, oh, hi, my name is Mark. Nice to meet you.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, great line. So they throw a random party. Hey, Julie Louis-Dreyfus is there.
They've got this Australian guy who's studying for his PhD, and he's got a license plate that says USL Elade.
He's gonna be the suntan lotion magnet.
Yeah,
he's gonna revolutionize suntan lotion.
His PhD's in chemistry, so he can work for a suntan lotion company.
So they're sitting there. They're under the pool table. They're smoking a joint. They're figuring out they're gonna make their first $1 million
by 30.
By 30. Yep, very good.
Island. But I really want to be a senator.
He's gonna retire by 35. The world is their oyster, really. Nothing's gonna stop him. C. Thomas Howell, he goes to his parents' house. His dad's in some contraption, and the contraption hides the fact that it's Doogie Howser's dad. At least
Yeah,
it did
exactly.
for me.
JS, her dad had one of those. Do you remember?
Oh, her dad did have one of those.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, like, because he was doing these arm exercises. I'm like, is that how you're supposed to work out with this thing? He was like doing these arm things. I'm like, this is how you do it? I'm like, okay, I guess that's how you're supposed to work out upside down on this thing.
Her dad was a weird dude.
Weird dude. I like every time he shook his hand, you're like, yep, I bet he just jailed with his hand. Sorry.
He was a very successful lawyer for a big company in
this
town.
movie about lawyers. Yeah.
This is a movie about lawyers. Yeah, wow. Could have been my father-in-law, Big Al.
Man, he's got a great handshake. That guy.
Who knows where I would be now. So C. Thomas Howell's dad, Mark's dad, he's going through a selfish phase. His counselor told him, you need to go through a selfish phase. Therefore, he's taken all the money he set aside for Mark's tuition to Harvard Law, and he's going to go get a timeshare.
Bora
Bora. Barbados. Thank you.
Yeah. This brings me to my first 80s amnesia. Alf's dad and Mark's dad, they both have Fila jumpsuits on. Their sweatsuits.
Yes, they did. Yeah. So at one point, when did Fila go from old man style to urban hip? Back to old man style.
This is nice. Look, it's Fila. I love this.
I remember when our school that we went to in high school switched to Fila like shoes.
Okay.
They were like orange.
Oh, for the basketball team?
Yeah, for the basketball team. That was like the big thing. So Mark's going to need to get a loan. You got tuition. That's $10,000 a year. That's an 80s amnesia. Harvard Law was only $10,000 a year.
I was thinking the same
I
thing.
bet. How much do you
I
think?
can't go to community college for $10,000 a year.
Talked about community college is a better investment. I'm just saying right now. So he was talking about $50,000 for 3 years of law. Do you think it'd be closer to 300? How much do you think it would cost right now for 3 years?
Oh,
of Harvard Law.
300 is under.
Okay.
Plus he added living expenses. So through 3 years with living expenses and everything else, we're talking $53,000 to live and go to school for 3 years to Harvard Law.
Money's different in the 80s. A pack of baseball cards was 50 cents. I'm telling you, kids, a pack of baseball cards was 50 cents.
Actually, I remember when Topps raised it from 45 in 88 to 50 in 89. I was pissed. I was pissed. So he's trying to figure out what he's going to do. It looks like he's going to hang himself, but in reality, he
hangs his Cabbage Patch Kid.
He hangs his Cabbage Patch Kid. Did you have a Cabbage Patch Kid?
Jeffrey Graham.
I had Gideon.
His name's Gideon?
That was his name they gave him.
Okay, that's the name he was born. That's the name. He came out of the patch with Gideon. That's his name.
I still have him, and I tried to let my daughter play with him, and then she's like, "That's the creepiest thing I've ever seen. Get it away from me."
No, it watches you sleep. It watches you sleep.
So he can't get scholarships because his dad makes too much money. He goes to the. I mean, the Vanderbilt kid's literally crying on the mountain. He's crying on the mountain.
The lady, he's like, "Yeah, financial aid's for poor people, not for kids whose parents are assholes." And then he's got bad credit. He's like, "I got no credit," but in reality, he's got bad credit.
He can't get financial aid. He can't get a loan because he's got. Yeah,
Dubs, Glenn. By the way, when I moved out of that apartment, I appreciate that you returned the cable box that was under my name back to the cable company. I appreciate that.
You're most welcome. We're talking about the house?
Yes, the house. Because I'm like, I'm trusting this guy. I was like, I hope he returns the cable box because it's under my name.
Do you remember we got kicked out of that house illegally?
I mean, we were squatted. I came in and squatted with my toy gun.
You and my dad sat on the couch waiting for the people to try to kick us out of the house. And you had a toy gun, and my dad sat there next to you. And I would have paid real money to be able to just watch it. I can't imagine what you and my dad discussed.
We talked about how fucked up that apartment or that house was, what we did to and wreck that house. That green stain out there? Yeah, that's from bong water.
Oh, we dyed the bong green for St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day, everybody. St. Patrick's Day.
We had a bad situation. The landlord kicked us out for no reason. She kicks us out because she wanted her daughter to move in. So as we're moving out that day, it was kind of hostile. Granted, we had a wrestling ring in the garage disassembled that we had to move.
We had it in the backyard.
We had a gynecological table we had to get rid of. And we had a 7-foot cigarette machine that weighed about 700 pounds.
Well, we're still coming back for that, okay?
They asked us 4 times, "You're coming back to that cigarette machine, right?" So on our last trip, we had everything else loaded. And this 8 months pregnant lady comes out. She goes, "So you come back for that?" And I'm like, "Nope." And we all just ran to the car and took off.
Possession is 9/10 of the law, which means it's theirs now. It's yours now.
I'm pretty sure that JS's father, we discussed earlier, sued and got money from them, or at least threatened legal action.
They got money for her, but not for us. It's fine.
Oh, I bet it was our money.
Yeah, whatever.
My trusty assistant here, MH, would like to know the academic year is $81,900 a year for Harvard Law. So $90,000 a year, 3 years.
Maybe 5 to 700, and that's if you're splitting it with like 5 people.
Are you kidding me? In Harvard, Boston, no way.
But you're splitting it with people, though. I mean, if you got 4 people, 5 people living in an apartment, 800 a person.
ISU right now, the apartments go for $1,000 a month per person.
Oh shit! It's probably at least 3 then.
The estimated cost for 3 years is $304,000.
That we were pretty close. We're pretty close. Well, when we apply, when you and I both apply, and we're banging the blonde chick and bro house, and we're like, we're going to Harvard Law, then we'll know how much money we have to raise.
Did I tell you about my recent legal battle with the Tazewell County?
It feels like every time there's a storm, there's a goddamn storm warning for Tazewell County. Go ahead.
Have I told you any of this? I've been battling them over a ticket for a few months.
What did you do, Glenn?
Okay, well, I didn't do anything. I'll tell you the story later, but I got called last week telling me they have dropped the charges because I was set to go to a judge trial this last weekend or last Friday, and they called a week before. And
dude, I just thought it'd be awesome if you just show up to court and be like, "I've seen 374 episodes of Divorce Court, every single, pretty much from the original series of People's Court. I've seen every single episode,
and every long
go ahead and judge and pretty much." Every single from start to finish.
Well, here's the thing. They met me already because this wasn't our first rodeo. Okay. We had pre-trial hearings. I think they knew I saw every episode of Law and Order. I think they just knew it.
No. With Jerry Orbach, yeah, I've seen all of them. Yeah.
It also may be the fact that I kept asking her to call me McCoy every time that we had a conversation. I was like, Jack McCoy.
Is that your
just call me Jack McCoy?
Is that your duster over there?
That's Lawrence. I was like, Jack McCoy, lady. Anyway, they did not want any of this, so they dropped the charge.
Is it about your donations?
What?
Is it about your seed donation?
No.
I wasn't sure about that. Okay. Totally different court hearing. I'm sorry.
However, I did once have a trial in Tazewell about my seed donation.
Okay.
And I won.
Okay.
So here's the deal.
Snoop Dogg.
He's got to get into law school. He's reading the internet. Oh, there's no internet. He's reading. I don't know how he found out.
He's on the beach with a pamphlet.
Yeah, he finds a pamphlet about this scholarship, but you have to be a black athlete. It's only for LA, unless we find out later no one in LA can claim it, and then it goes statewide. However, he lived in LA, and he decides to claim it. Michael, not you on the ginger, inmate sitting next to me. How did he figure he could pass himself off?
His friend is a manufacturer of some pills.
Viagra.
Perhaps tanning pills.
Tanning pills.
Is that a real
you
thing?
Ever heard of tanning pills? Mr. Michael on the ginger.
No. Oh, man. Before your wedding, I
he
thought
would
about
have
doing a
used them.
spray tan.
Well, they didn't have tanning beds, at least not widely acceptable, so he took tanning pills. Now, did I miss something? Did they curl his hair?
I think he did that on his own. But
did they show it?
There's no
They
discussion
should
of
have
it.
had part of I thought it was obviously it was a wig, but it felt like he should have had downtime where it would have been like, I'm going to be white today, but instead it was like just black the whole time. Anyway.
How come they never discussed his hair? I thought I missed it.
Honky.
So, anyway, they really gloss over the fact that all of a sudden he's black and now he's going to be going to Harvard as a black man. They really just kind of...
All right, we're doing this. Get on this ride. We're going for it. One thing I thought was kind of funny.
I think they were sitting in the writer's room and they're like, how do we discuss the probability of this happening? And I think they said, just gloss over it. Just throw in a montage of him going to Harvard, have him in one scene say, hey, I took tanning pills, never discuss his now curly hair, and then just have him in a Jeep going to Harvard. And they're like, genius, we won't even talk about it.
If Al Jolson thought of it, he would have done it first. One thing I thought was kind of funny was Ari Gross's quotes. He talked about your father's in Barbados, your grandfather's at the forest lawn, and your credit rating is in the toilet. What is he supposed to do? It is the Cosby decade, and America loves black people, Glenn. They love it.
I thought that was quite hilarious as well.
I guess like in the 70s, there's Superfly and Shaft, and then like the late 80s, early 90s, East Coast Family, ABC, BBD, East Coast Family.
Didn't they play Shaft? Yeah, they did. Yeah,
they played a Shaft a little bit. And then also Tupac and later Snoop Dogg. But you've got a tattoo, or I guess a grouping of tattoos on your person. But I guess to me, it felt like I had to talk you out of getting the thug life on your belly. Like, is there ever a point in your life where you thought it was cool to be a black person?
Wow, what a loaded question. Okay, so
let's not talk about the stereotypes.
No, okay. Wow, I was not expecting that. How did I not see that coming? Yes, there may have been a time in my life where I may have identified more with a different culture than my own. I don't think I got crazy with it. I mean, did I?
No. I mean, I've definitely met some white ass black people, and I've met some black ass white people. That's just the way it is. What are you gonna do?
I mean, I came from an area where, as a very youngster, I was more of a minority. I moved to a very white area, and then I worked at AFNI, where I was always constantly.
Oh man, I bet that those ladies, I bet they loved you. They just feed you, man.
They did. They loved me.
Yeah,
they loved Michael too. They said Michael had a. They used to say Michael had a black man's ass. They love me. I mean, everyone loved me. I try to get along with everyone, and maybe sometimes I identify. I try to adapt to the situation I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm going to say. I try to adapt to the situation I'm in. Unless you want to talk about high school, well, I really didn't have any situation because I didn't have a lot of friends, so I just wore jerseys and listened to rap music because that's what made me happy. Is that what you wanted?
I'm sorry, Glenn.
Is that what you wanted?
I tried to hang out with you. We went to Dairy Queen. We smoked cigarettes. I mean, you smoked cigarettes. I held cigarettes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they were cools. That was fine.
With a K. All right.
We skipped over the Al's dad part real quick. So at one point, C. Thomas Howell, Mark, he wants to go to the therapist because he realizes that his dad, Doogie Howser's dad, he got this advice from his therapist. So he goes to the therapist, and the therapist, played by Max Wright, Al's dad, and the therapist says, basically, the therapist's son is a piece of shit, and the therapist is afraid to tell his son no, so he made Mark's dad tell him no. And then the therapist, like, in his field jumpsuits, like, getting in Mark's face. It was kind of really crazy looking, right? That happened.
Alf, Willie does not do that on the television program. It was kind of taken aback at first.
As many times as you want to strangle Alf, he didn't. So anyway, C. Thomas Howell, they move across the country. Him and Ari Gross, he's taken his black pills, or his tanning pills, be black.
Thank you.
America loves black people. We discussed that.
Corey Smith does too.
Corey Smith loves black people. Landlord, he moves into the new place. Landlord does not like the fact that a black Negro is living there. He chastised Ari Gross because Ari Gross's mom did not explain they'd be moving with a Negro.
Problem here, you know, when your mother rented this place for you, she never told me that your roommate was a
What?
black.
What?
A black Negro.
Mark? A black Negro?
Right.
Wait a minute, where'd you get this information? He never told me he was a black Negro. I'm shocked.
A black Negro.
So I was at my parents for Father's Day, and we were discussing movies. We were discussing where we grew up in the Gary, Indiana area. And we were discussing like this movie theater, and I was like, "Oh, I never saw a movie there." And my mom's like, "Well, actually, you saw your first ever movie there." And I was like, "Oh, well, I don't remember that." She goes, "You were like 6 months old." And I was like, "What movie did you take me to when I was 6 months old?" She says, "The Jerk."
That's awesome. That's so awesome.
She's like, "You slept through it." But she's like, "We really wanted to see it, and we had no one around to watch you, so we took you to The Jerk."
That's awesome.
It made complete sense.
Yes.
The Jerk is like my top 5 of all time favorite movies.
Yes.
So I was so happy to know that I saw The Jerk in the movie theater. I don't remember it, but I saw it.
That's good. I think I saw E.T.
So,
E.T. was my first one.
First one I remember seeing was a Jungle Book. Second one I remember seeing was Ghostbusters.
Okay. This was in the theater?
Yeah.
I remember it wasn't the initial release, but it was a re-release of Popeye, I think, with Robin Williams.
Oh, that's cool. So we find out that Leslie Nielsen, our second straight Leslie Nielsen movie.
I was like, you have an 80s podcast. You go 300 episodes without talking about Leslie Nielsen. 2 in a row.
2 in a row. So Frank Drebin owns the building.
So next week it's probably going to be Doogie Howser's dad.
Has he done anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But yeah, Frank Drebin, he owns the building. And obviously he's doing a favor by letting of God's chosen people live there. But the last thing he wants to do is let an African-American also live there as well.
Right. You kind of get the feeling he's kind of uppity. And his daughter's in there. No, that's Alf's dad. We're talking about Doogie Howser's dad.
Oh, sorry. Her dad.
His daughter is in the car. His daughter, Whitney, becomes the central character. I have to put it out there now because I know Michael's going to burst at the seams.
Okay.
Michael, MH and I had a conversation before. Do you know who his daughter is?
Jan Levinson?
Yes. So my wife walks in for 30 seconds of this movie last night, and she goes, "I know her. Who is that?" And I was like, "It's no one famous." Towards the end of the movie, I Googled, and I was shocked. So tonight, I asked MH, because he watched it, and he goes, I know the voice, but I couldn't figure out who it is. And right as we started, he cheated and looked it up. Jan Levinson from The Office, who was not famous until the aughts, was in this movie.
Obviously, she became a working actress, and that's what she was going for, you know?
If I can get her on the podcast, can she come on?
I think she's probably busy doing other stuff now, Glenn.
Oh,
But
she's
I mean,
a singer.
when she's on The Office, I'm going to be misogynistic. But on The Office, she got some big old biddies, some
Big old bitties.
Yeah, but in this show, not really as big. But people mature, they have kids, things happen.
Well, no, in The Office, that was a thing where
Yeah,
they talked about how she got yeah.
That's awesome.
Anyway, she's a very soulful singer. Like she does like lounge Josephine Baker type stuff. I own 2 of her albums.
I'm thinking like Ron Swanson in Parks and Rec, except instead of the saxophone, she's doing lounge singing.
Right, but that is what she currently is doing. I follow her, and I would love to try to get her.
We got to promote Glenn, and we have a podcast internationally, so do what you can do.
We're huge in India.
Huge.
So
we're huge in Sweden and Iceland. So thank you very much for listening.
Here's the next thing that offended me. They were lighting their joints with matches. Who would like to joint with a match? Yeah, MF Jones is saying that does not happen. So he walks up on a couple of Harvard white bread dudes, and they're telling racist jokes.
They love the racist jokes.
And he's just like, whatever, it's cool, because they keep apologizing. And then he loves being black, because he's thinking that everyone's giving him the eye. He loves being black. He wasn't going to take criminal law, but then he found out the prof is a brother. So he's really getting into this.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not gonna. I didn't want to take it first, but he's a black guy. I'm a black guy. He's gonna love me.
Who plays the prof?
Darth Vader himself, James Earl Jones. Okay, Glenn. There's this movie. There's this movie and The Toy. They're probably if you just told somebody the idea for either of these movies, you'd be like, "That's racist as shit."
Yeah, these movies will never get made now. I actually almost suggested we do The Toy without even thinking about the Soul Man aspect. I was just looking. I updated our Bible the other day. I have to send it out to you guys.
But I felt like if James Earl Jones was okay with this, if you read the script and he didn't think at that time that it was racist, then it should be okay. I'm like, at that time period, it should be okay, right? I mean, because he got famous for being Jack Johnson on stage. Like he was like the biggest, baddest black man in history up until Muhammad Ali was Jack Johnson, and that's who James Earl Jones became famous for, was playing Jack Johnson for this heavyweight fighter. And
who played the Hurricane?
That's Denzel.
Before that movie came out,
to me though, if it felt like he doesn't think it's racist, then I'll go on this ride with James Earl Jones. Go ahead, Glenn.
There was this time we lived together that you were really trying to get me into Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
And I already saw a Bob Dylan concert a couple times, but I still wasn't a huge fan. And I would just listen to that song over and over again while playing PlayStation. Like at 2 a.m. in the morning. The Hurricane. I don't know why. Love that song.
There's also the Man Named Me song that's from the Big Lebowski also.
What is?
The Man Named Me.
Okay.
La, 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 la. That song. You know that song if you heard it.
I'm sure. It's fine. So, he goes to the prof's class. Everyone says, "Hey, yes, I'm here." He goes, "Right on." James Earl Jones probably lived through, civil rights. I mean, his character, obviously.
All that, yeah.
He has no tolerance for this 80s jive brother.
This militant jive turkey.
Yeah, he does not like the jive turkey. So he's gonna try to hit on this black girl, Sweet Sarah.
He saw her in the distance and knew they were meant for each other.
Sarah does not want anything to do with him. He goes, "Nice ass," as she's walking away, and she goes, "What an asshole." So he's gonna join the BOSA, which Ari Gross, his roommate, tells him it's kind of like a militant black group. So he shows up dressed as a Black Panther. He walks in, and everyone looks like Carl.
Anybody order a cab?
Oh, I love that song.
Okay. Okay. I guess he could have come off. I mean, he could have explained it off like I'm a black dude raised by white people. I haven't really been around black people. Like he could come off and say that. Like I mean, he could be that guy, you know.
So let's just get into the heart of why this movie's kind of racist.
Okay.
So he shows up to this black group meeting. He's wearing Black Panther regalia. He looks, he sees everyone's dressed like Carlton.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Oh, you want to order a cab?" He leaves.
I think at this point, this is when Jan comes over to his house. And
yeah, Whitney comes over, Jan Levison. Him and Ari Gross are fighting over her, but she wants the black cock.
She's a social anthropologist, and she wants the black cock.
AKA, my dad is white and rich, and I am studying African studies to rebel against him because I like the BBC.
I want this guy pissed.
So,
one thing I thought was kind of funny is that she's like, "Oh, tonight you're gonna meet my parents," and he's like, "I don't know what's going on. How about if I give you a blowy, then you go meet my parents?" And that's exactly what happened.
So he bangs her. She's refreshed that not all stereotypes are correct. I mean, he's dynamic in the sack, but thank God that he's not like big.
She's got other racists to bang, and she doesn't want to get all stretched out when she just starts out doing this sexual. she's on this sexual escapade, sexual journey throughout the entire kaleidoscope of the world, and she's thank God that the black man she decided to have sex with has a small penis.
Before he goes, the scene I was thinking, he goes to play basketball. The white captains are fighting over him. Very racist. They have him guard the other black guy who's a real black guy.
He hates the messy list. But it's like the worst basketball ever in the history of basketball.
Yeah. So he's guarding the one black guy because he's also black, and he's horrible. And that guy is just average, but he's black and playing Harvard white guy, so he looks good. So racist right there because automatically he should be better because he's black. Next racist. He bangs her. Oh, next racist. He runs into Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and then he acts blind.
I don't know if she's in law school. She's in some kind of graduate program at Harvard, and her boyfriend is at Boston College, and he wants to get in. He's the last on the list to get into Harvard, but he's at BU right now.
Yeah, you thought that was going to be a bigger story, didn't you?
Well, I think they could have spent like another 20 or 30 seconds of him because he has like the big reveal at the end. Have him prepare like for court, have him get ready to go for court, and then he sees C. Thomas Howell at the end, be like, "Oh, I spent all this time preparing and I suck." Maybe like another 20 or 30 seconds.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who plays like the character that she only played in the 80s, which was like up until Seinfeld, she only played stuck-up white bitch.
They had Elaine was fantastic in this as well. That was just her. That was her. I mean, she was on SNL. Was it
86?
86, and this was when the original people weren't there at all. Like,
yeah, it was one of the worst years.
Okay, yes. But to me, it felt like that she was great at being just the bitch, and that C. Thomas Howell was great at doing his thing, and it just felt like the smart guy. I don't know. Go ahead, Glenn. I'm lost. I got confused.
Okay, so to try to get around, he played. To try to get around, he played blind Kareem Abdul something.
Ali.
It was racist.
Abdul Ali.
Yeah, there you go.
Ali.
Yeah, there you go. So,
but it felt great though that white people were afraid of C. Thomas Howell. I think he really liked how they were afraid of him. It was like, we're still cool, man, right? No offense, right?
So right away, Whitney sleeps with him, tells him he doesn't have a black man's penis, takes him to dinner where every person in her family had a racist fantasy about him. Her mom, what was her mom's? That was the first one. I don't remember.
I think it was the escaped slave.
Yeah. Her brother's was that he was Prince. Her dad's that he's a pimp eating watermelon while trying to get her to do heroin.
Go get my hypodermic needle. Yes, it's very, very offensive, but I don't know. I mean, if James Earl Jones said it was okay at the time, obviously it was okay at the time. I don't know. But it felt like there's a bunch of study montages. There's probably maybe at least 10 or 12 minutes of just montages of people studying.
Yeah. Also, so some quick fun facts. Radong Chong, Tommy Chong's daughter.
Yeah. I watched a lot of documentaries. There's this documentary about Tommy Chong going to jail because he attached his name to some his smoke accessories. And I was like, why is Radong Chong in this? What's going so I guess it's his daughter. Yeah.
Yeah. And she starred in many B movies throughout. She was in a Noah Baumbach movie. Do you remember the movie I think I made you watch, like about the holidays?
This is Starfucker one?
Yeah, Starfucker.
Okay.
She was in that as one of the Starfucker girls. As Ray Dong Chong. She actually, her and C. Thomas Howell got married.
That's kind of cool. They do definitely have some chemistry in this movie, especially like there's those scenes where they are studying and they do have the montage and she's really staring at him and you're like, she's a really good actress. Or I mean, you could tell she definitely has feelings for him just staring at him.
So let me ask you something. I give you the name Ray Dong Chong. You think Asian? You think Mexican? Where's the black come in?
Well, I think her like her dad was, because Tommy Chong's, isn't he like, he's Asian and he's like Irish and Scottish, I think, and her mom's part black and part something else, I think.
Okay.
He's American, you know. That's
it's a melting pot.
It's a melting pot.
Tim Robbins was cast in this role as C. Thomas Howell.
But
Howard the Duck, such great feeling.
So Howard the Duck, it was a reshoots or the shot went extra long, so they were like, "Yep, we're gonna need you for a few more shoots," and they decided to go with C. Thomas Howell instead of Tim Robbins.
Oh, that's right. So the other fun fact is Ari Gross, Gordon, when they filmed a scene where C. Thomas Howell first approaches him, he thinks he's going to mug him.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because he's black and obviously doesn't look exactly like his best friend. And then they sing Swing Low, Sweet Chariot.
Why would they cut that? I don't know.
Well,
they would cut that.
Of all the okay, so we just talked about a scene where there's a fantasy of Leslie Nielsen where
like, oh, that is okay. It's okay to have him eating watermelon.
Eating watermelon in a pimp suit, telling his wife
to go get heroin and a hypodermic needle. But at Swing Low, Sweet Chariot is bad. It's bad.
Go get me heroin and hold on. White fat ass slut.
I need a white girl with a big old butt. I mean, you know what I'm saying.
So while he's at this racist dinner with Frank Drebin, oh my God, we're already in the 10th inning.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
While he's there, he stands up Ray Dong Chong. He stands up Sarah.
He's a kind of a scumbag.
Scumbag.
And he does was it the next day or the day after, he sees her and tries to apologize to her while she's working at the kitchen, and then that's when Jan is there. I guess Whitney Dunbar. Jan from The Office.
Also another scene where he hears the same white guys giving us some racist jokes.
Yeah.
Then he's driving his Jeep in Boston. Gets pulled over by the police. For no reason. He goes to show him his
driving
life.
while black. That's what he was doing, Glenn.
Driving while black.
Yeah.
That's a crime, and I know where I live. So he goes to show him his license. He realizes he can't show his license because it's white. Gets run up into jail. Boston, by the way, has kind of a reputation as being a racist town. Did you know that?
I guess so. I don't know. Whatever.
Have you ever seen Celtic Pride?
Yes, I have, Clay. Yes, I have.
Have you ever heard Manny Ramirez talk about Boston?
No, I have not.
Oh, well, Boston is a very racist town. It's a thing. Okay. So he gets put into the jail with a white softball team, much like your softball team tonight. I'm sure you guys would have reacted the same way.
Exactly.
You don't want to lose to any N-word. He said it. Now, even though yesterday President Obama said the N-word on his podcast, I'm not going to say it here.
I am so glad my grandfather is dead. Because I know he'd be like, well, if Obama said it, that means I could say it now too. I just want
to can I go off on? I don't want to get off on a rant here, Dennis Miller style. Did you listen to the podcast?
I listened to the whole thing. Yeah.
Okay, me too. I hate Mark Maron.
I figured it'd make you watch it, but it just felt like thank God Grandpa's not alive, because I know he'd be like, I know I could say it now too. You know what? Something about that Obama. If he had a brain, he'd take it out and play with it. That's WF.
5 years ago, if you go back and listen to our podcast, I am sure I'm telling you how Mark Maron is the greatest person on the planet. I have a lot of issues with Mark Maron. That's neither here nor there. The fact is that Mark Maron started his podcast a year after us. He was also small time. He had more of a name. I mean, he had more of a name, but not much more of a name.
America.
And he has rose in success where the president sat in his garage last Friday, which is pretty awesome. I listened to it. If people listened to what he actually said instead of just focused on the fact of what he said, he made a great valid point, and it's so lost because he chose to say that word. Now, if you go in the beginning of the podcast, they talk about, like, Mark Maron talks about how, like, all these different Secret Service people are listening in and everything, and all of his people are listening in. Can you imagine outside of the garage the reaction when he said that word? They're like,
oh, we got him. I knew he'd do it. I've been here 6 years. I knew he'd do it.
All of his people were probably like, shit. Come on, Brock.
Come on, Brock. B-Rock. What are you doing, B-Rock?
B-Rock.
Yeah, I don't know, but it felt like the big issues were like the gun control and then also the racism in America.
I thought he made a very valid point about racism, but it's all lost on the fact that he used that one word.
Yeah, well, I guess to me though, it's like people say, "Oh, it's the same as it always is." I'm like, you can't, and you talk about how you can't say that unless you were alive in the 50s or the 60s. You have no perception as to how things have changed. And
my favorite take on it was, and I can't remember his name for the life of me now, and it sucks. The guy who took over for Colbert.
Okay.
Nixon and Lyndon B. Johnson were recorded.
Oh, yes.
That word.
Yeah. I thought that was awesome.
And it was never a thing. They were on tape using that word. Anyway.
And then Donald Rumsfeld was with Nixon.
Yeah. I digress.
Yeah.
So back to the movie. So,
they've got some study montages. He wants to go back out with her again, tries to get back in her good graces. He ends up.
Well, he gets beat up in jail.
Yes.
Because he's an N-word. That's what they say.
Yep.
Because their softball team got beat by N-words. So he gets beat up in jail.
He does.
He shows up to class. He's beat up.
He doesn't get his paper done on time.
James Earl Jones. He tries to have a heart-to-heart with James Earl Jones, and James Earl Jones is having none of it. He berates him. But then James Earl Jones makes the comment, listen, I don't like these white shits any more than you do, but that's the world we live in. And then he says, if you ever get put in jail again, call me, I'll bring your books. He gives him his number, which you kind of think is like, oh, I think he's actually just saying like, hey, I think you're a good person. And then he gives him an extension to do his paper. And you don't really see what he writes, but you get the idea that he writes some pretty powerful stuff.
Well, it's kind of like, it's kind of like the Jackie Robinson rule where you have to be twice as good as the next best. I mean, if you're a black dude, like he sees it as a way that you need to be twice as good as the next white guy. Like you have to be that good and you can't falter at all.
So him and Sarah, they kind of fall in love, they're doing the study montages.
Sweet, smooth jazz. One other 80s jazz.
Sweet, smooth jazz. She's a single mom, we find out.
Yep. He goes and hangs out with the kid at her grandparents' house. I assume her parents are like missionaries or something. Like they're out of the picture, but they're still together. I don't know. Like they're out of the country, so I don't know what they're doing. But he has a Grimlock Transformer. I thought that was pretty awesome. And they did also talk about staying up and watching Johnny Carson. I just remember like 16 or 17, you're like, I'm gonna drink. That'll make me feel like an adult. But when you're like 6 or 7, you're like, what'll make me feel like an adult? Like watching adult television, like watching Johnny Carson. These are adult shows, even if Joan Rivers is hosting.
Fuck Joe.
So,
they make Snow Angels. He finds out she's from San Diego. And then he finds out he stole the scholarship from her. He feels bad. She's like, don't feel bad. But she also doesn't know he's white. So he wants to turn himself into James Earl Jones. Ari Gross is like, Gordon's like, don't. And he goes to James Earl Jones, and he wants to tell him, but James Earl Jones wants him to be a board member. He'll be a board member.
Yeah, you need to be on this
committee member
thing. Yeah.
So that happens.
Because you have to have equal representation on those committees.
You do. He goes home to talk to Gordon about it. Whitney, Jan Levison's half naked in his bed. Should have been fully naked. That's just my opinion. His parents show up. Now we have a nutty romp on our hands. We have a Monty Python, Benny Hill situation.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's very like, British situation here.
Yeah, so we got his parents in the kitchen. He has to wear a ski mask to hide his blackness.
That was so awesome.
He's got, his parents were racist. Well, obviously.
Well, no, I mean the ski mask was.
Oh, yeah, the ski mask is racist. You're right.
That was a pretty powerful statement.
So you got a half-naked white girl in your bed. You got your girlfriend in the living room and your parents in the kitchen. So he tries to navigate around it. At one point, he walks into the kitchen as the black man. His parents don't see their kid. They see a black man. They think he's going to rob him.
I think he had a knife.
He throws white-ass Whitney on the balcony. He super sees it, calls the landlord, her dad.
Oh, like initially when he's like, when Frank Drebin goes up to him, he's like, if they got loud music or drugs or an animal, I want them out of there. And then the very next scene, they're playing loud music. They knock a hole in the wall and they're smoking weed. And they're like, we should get an ocelot.
We're lighting the joint with a match, like I said.
We need to get an ocelot.
So eventually, Sarah doesn't believe him. She sees the white girl. She sees the parents. He tries to explain that the parents are his parents and that he's white. She doesn't believe him. He runs down after her. Leslie Nielsen shows up and punches him out and then evicts his ass. And he's done. He's got to quit.
So, I mean, it felt like we should have had one more scene where he had a confrontation with James Earl Jones or something. I mean, I don't know. And this is the finals right after this, right? When he goes and takes his final in the criminal justice class. Civil justice.
He did. Yeah. You're right. And then he doesn't know what to do. So he talks to Ari Gross. And they decide, let's go to the Judiciary Committee. Let's do it.
But they have the Christmas break in between. And then it's punctuated by the two racist guys continuing to make racist comments.
In front of him, yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's like basically there's more like Pollock jokes to me. It seemed very
whatever. So they go to the Judiciary Committee.
Mm-hmm.
That's their decision. Also, we find out that Julie Louis-Dreyfus' boyfriend figures it out. So you're like, oh, that's going to be big. Didn't really end up being anything.
No, they could have added. They could have had like 20 more seconds to hammer home that joke. But it was kind of fun watching Ari Gross come in and just chew the scenery and be big and huge and as his defense attorney.
He did chew the scenery. Good reference, because he totally did that.
Because I mean that's kind of what his character was in every movie. It was just the loud best friend, the obnoxious best friend, like the Eddie Haskell, but for the 80s, in these 80s movies.
He gave a great opening speech. But here's the thing: he sets it up to be very racist against black people. Like everything about his speech was so racist, but we knew it wasn't racist.
Yeah,
because we know C. Thomas Howell's white. So he blames his race on everything, his upbringing, and everyone's just sitting there looking. And then all of a sudden, C. Thomas Howell walks in.
And he's a white guy.
And then Whitney's like, oh. And then the black dude playing basketball is like, oh. And then the white dude, the white racist guys are like, that makes sense. You know, like everyone's like, oh, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way he was cool enough to be black. So he gives his speech. He's going to pay Sarah back. She runs out. He's going to pay her the thing back. James Earl Jones and him have a conversation in private. Mm-hmm. And James Earl Jones is like, you really learned what it's like to be a black man. And then he says, no, I didn't. Because if I can change at any time, a black man is always going to be a black man. I guess then James Earl Jones really knows he learned.
If there was a saving grace scene in this movie for an I mean, as far as like you could say this movie is not racist, it would be that scene.
So it's like 40 minutes, or it's like an hour and 20 minutes of racism, and then like 3 minutes of that speech, and then they're like, oh, that's fine.
Absolution.
Yeah.
Okay, now I got to go work in the cafeteria.
So why are you putting Travis Wood to pinch run for Dexter Fowler when his run doesn't matter?
Well, I thought he hurt his knee or ankle. I thought he hurt his ankle.
Oh, so they brought him in to get the walk. Okay. Makes sense. Bases loaded, nobody out, bottom of 10.
Okay.
So there's an hour and 20 minutes of racism, and it's okay by that 2 minutes of speech that makes it non-racist.
So he's going to give her interest, Glenn. He's going to give her all the money she's owed plus interest.
Yeah. So James Earl Jones.
But you also get the feeling when his parents came to visit him in the apartment, they're like, Barbados, we feel bad. We need to give you money for college now. So obviously,
right, but what happened? That changed because, so James Earl Jones says you can stay. We're not going to press charges. Just, do what your conscience says. But he's going to pay for the school. He's going to pay his own way. But now his father is giving him the money at a 25% interest rate. So that changed.
Yeah.
He goes and he meets Sarah in the cafeteria. He's working hard. He's paying her. She wants nothing to do with him. Her boy kind of likes him. Nothing to do with him. And then the white racist joke tellers come in. They tell another one, and he punches the fuck out of him. And then she likes him again.
She's never felt this way about a white dude before.
They walk away. She's okay with interracial relationships. Smooth jazz.
Smooth jazz.
End of movie.
It was surprisingly entertaining. I especially like Ari Gross and the dynamic between him and C. Thomas Howell. It was a lot of fun just watching them be best friends.
It's back.
Especially like in the UCLA stuff where it's all about getting the chicks, and then it's kind of funny. Well, you kind of get the feeling that later on they kind of were smart dudes. They didn't really have to try until they got to Harvard. Like, oh shit, now I got to try. You
kind of felt like he just kind of blew it off, but then when he tried, he was awesome.
Yeah,
this movie had a lot more heart than I expected, than I remembered it having.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really enjoyed it. MH, you watched it 20 something years ago, and you watched it tonight. What are your feelings?
Well, like I was telling you, I think I understood the jokes a lot more. From when I first saw it as a preteen, early teens. But, it comes back to there were a lot of things in the forefront. It was very edgy for the time, bringing those things to the forefront. I thought, when James Earl Jones said, well, you know what it's like to feel black, that to me, I was like, that's kind of a weird statement to throw in a movie, especially coming from James Earl Jones' character. But I think the rebuttal was excellent. But yeah, I was entertained, but at the same time I was kind of a little squeamish as I was sitting here watching it.
Absolutely.
Thinking, I'm glad I'm here by myself watching this, because if I was watching with someone else, I'm sure we would jump into some in-depth conversation or discussion about that specific situation. But the thing that stuck out to me, the real edgy part was when one of the funniest parts is when he's trying to, in their apartment, he's like, so what do you think about interracial relationships? and then Whitney pops through the window. And I just kind of started laughing, thinking, "Oh, that was totally not what he was going for." But very edgy.
Did this movie surprise you by the heart? Because it surprises me by the heart.
There was towards the end, there was more emotional tugs at your string there a little bit, because you really want to see the guy succeed. Although he was being a cock about the way he went about it, but you really want to see him succeed in whatever his endeavor is, whether it's bussing tables or law or bringing up little Joey and his wife.
Yeah, I mean, it was not the movie I remembered or expected, and I liked it more than what I remember or expected. Mm-hmm. Definitely racist at parts. Not going to deny it, but I feel like it came full around. Like, I feel like it almost justified what it was doing with the end message.
Yeah, if you saw C. Thomas Howell out in the world, would you think he's a black dude?
No. The best part of this movie is the fact that his parents didn't recognize him.
I know.
When he says, "Shut up, Dad," that was to me, that was just hilarious. Shut up, Dad. And his dad's holding the mop, right? The old school sponge mop and a butcher knife.
So I liked the movie. I loved it. I don't know I'll watch it in the near future, but there couldn't be a more perfect movie this week to watch, in my opinion.
I think it's worth watching. I think it completes our trip. I mean, no trip through the 80s wouldn't be complete without this movie. I'm glad we've got it. Is there anything else about this movie? Do you have any top thats?
No, I think I've displayed. True Detective started this weekend. Season 2. People are already shitting on it. Here's the thing. This season may suck. I don't know. If you watched the first season, you wouldn't love episode 1 or 2 or 3. You had no idea what it was. So the fact that people are already shitting on something only because the first season ended up being so good, it's kind of bullshit. Like, give it a chance, let it breathe, and let's see how it does.
Well, it's not like regular television where you have to win people over at the first episode with the pilot. It has to win people over. But with this, you can do a giant story over 10 episodes or 8 episodes. I mean, especially even with Daredevil, the one on Netflix, like it took me like the 5th or the 6th episode before I was like all in. I'm like, I got to see what happens. But I mean,
I agree. I love the Daredevil series, but it did take a while to.
Right, and I haven't watched Bloodlines yet, but from everything I've been told,
I think you'd like it.
Up until the second to last episode before you're really fully in. I'm just saying, a year ago, if people were watching this True Detective, they would have given it a chance, and now people are already shitting on it. Like I said, it may end up sucking. I don't know, but give it a chance. Also, a shout out to Brian of the Drunken Zombie podcast. He works for a local network that brings me Chicago Cubs games 50% of the time. And last night, due to a lot of weird weather and WGN doing some crazy shit, his network, and I believe he was working at the time, got shit on. And I'm not going to lie, I was one of the first ones, but I never was shitty. I just asked the network, hey, what's going on? But then I found myself defending the network because it wasn't their fault, and people were fucking ridiculous.
There was literally like sky and weird air pockets. Like there was weather situations all over the place.
Yeah, so I feel horrible that he had to go through that and to deal with these fucking crazy people. I'm glad I'm his friend on Facebook, so I got to hear him discuss it. But come on, people, calm down. Calm down.
Me and the lady baby, we finished watching Silicon Valley. It's good. It's not as good as first season, but it's still good. I'm glad it's on TV.
Okay, Silicon Valley is
good.
Okay.
It's good. I can't wait to watch Ballers.
Which one's Ballers? Is that the one with The Rock?
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks pretty awesome.
Okay.
He plays an agent, to the sports guys.
Okay.
I'm very excited.
It's like a more jacked up version of Jerry Maguire.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's got Dwayne, and Dwayne never fails. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to watching.
Golden. Everything he touches is golden. Even his shitty movies are golden.
Absolutely. You know. I'm looking forward to watching My Best Friend's Vampire this week for our podcast with Garen. So
this is the one with the guy from Dead Poet Society, right?
He drinks the blood.
Okay, this blood's for you. All right.
Yeah, this is one of the movies that me and you first bonded over.
Okay.
Another HBO classic, Gordon.
This is
an HBO classic.
I love this movie. This is great.
So hopefully, as of right now, next Friday we'll be delivering that to you. And then we got some exciting movies. I went through the Bible this weekend and I edited it, and I'm going to send you guys the new copy. But we got a lot of great movies coming up. Like, we have hundreds of movies to go. Like, this is not ending anytime soon. I went through and I was so excited and encouraged by all the movies we haven't even touched yet. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm super excited about it too, Glenn. Thanks again for everybody for listening, especially all the interaction with people on the Facebook.
Yeah, thank God for Louise. And there's other people, and I forget to mention them every time, and I'm not going to do it now, but I will sometime.
Eventually, I will say something.
Awesome. Well, great episode.
Great episode.
Looking forward to next week.
All right. This is Michael.
This is Lawrence.
Stay awesome, everybody.
Stay awesome.
Coming to you on a tough road.
Shit comes with
good loving. I've got a trouble load, but when you get it, you got something. Don't worry, 'cause I'm coming. I'm a soul man. I'm a soul man. I'm a soul man.
God, Mattingly's pissed. Stay awesome, everybody.